He's found a spot. I'm not sure if it's a good one, but he's found a spot. We got to talk about it. Welcome on into the Overtime Drive. He's Dave Shumate. I'm Cole Thompson. And as always, it's a Thursday episode, which means it's a mailbag episode. What questions do you have about the SEC going into 2025? Which teams are you looking out for? Who are some players that you think are going to hit? And what's going on in the world of the transfer portal? That's what we're here to break down, and that's what we love doing. So real quickly, make sure you like the video, hit the ring notification, and of course, subscribe to the channel because we talk college football every single day. Download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Follow us on the socials, link in the description. Follow me at Mr. Cole Thompson, Dave at Dave Shumate SEC. And check out our great work found at secunfiltered.com. And as always, this episode is proudly brought to you by our friends over at FANDUEL. Go to FANDUEL.com/SECU to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Lay down $5, win that bet. You're going to get $300 in bonus bets simply by joining on in today. So sign on up, FANDUEL.com/SECU. Schuster, what's up, bud?
I feel like the content's created itself for us this week, Barry. I mean, obviously with the portal opening, every basketball team's kind of got their knees deep in it now that the basketball season's over. So for both ends, we've got stuff coming out the ears. So fun week to cover all this stuff. Can't wait to cover it with you, Barry.
It's going to be a fun mailbag, short mailbag, not that many questions this week, but we are here to give you what you asked for. So make sure that you go ahead and get your questions in. As we always tell you before we begin any episode of the Overtime Drive, if you have a question, throw it in the comment section. Second you do, you jump the line. We're going to get to you because you're paying attention to us live and not watching on the replay, which by the way,
alphabetical order, Barry. You skip.
If you are watching on the replay, congratulations. Just make sure you hit that like button, the ring notification, and of course, give the video a thumbs up and leave us a comment down below for a question
next week's
episode. Yeah, next week's episode. We always got that. Here's a question for you, Dave. Is the over-under win total going to change for UCLA going into 2025 with the new quarterback at the helm?
I got to ask, what is it right now?
I think it's at 5.5.
5.5. I think it'd probably stay the same, right? I mean, I don't know if he makes. I mean, he definitely makes a difference. But I think it's, again, I'll be honest with you, I haven't studied the UCLA roster that much. I don't know really lots around him. But we'll dive into it this preseason. Actually, Blaine Gilmore about to start that preseason preview, so we got to jump into that. But no, again, right now, I don't know. I'd be lying to you. I don't know about much, but I think 5.5 is about right. I mean, I don't know if UCLA is a bowl team this year, really. Maybe 6.5. Maybe it bumps it up again.
Maybe we see it, but the reason we're talking about it is because of, according to multiple reports, it's not a done deal, but it's getting to the final turn, last second, literally like we're on the 11th hour. Nico Iamaleava is leaving Knoxville, and he's going on over to Los Angeles to play for the Sean Foster and the Bruins for 2025. Dave, did you see the article on Front Office Sports with the reason why they left?
Oh, yeah. No, me and you talked about it. We haven't been on the show yet, but you're right. It feels like multiple days, hasn't it? Like this whole like Nico saga. And it was like, man, that was only 2 days ago, Bear. But then me and you did a transfer portal live show, so it makes sense. They said a friend of the family. It was his agent.
Friend of the family, random dude, just dude who knows Nico.
I mean, I guess technically he could be termed a friend of the family. I mean, it's a pretty broad term, but yes, I don't think anyone was lying, but I think he was a little deeper into the relationship than that. So yeah, you're right. The offense didn't really fit him. I didn't.
Can you come up with a better lie? That's all I'm asking for.
I'm one. What's my guy, Barry? You would know this. What's my guy? He does all the NFL stuff. Brett. He does a good job. Killerman. What's the guy's name? The YouTube guy that breaks down all the.
Brett Kohlerman.
Yeah, I saw he was getting killed, and I actually somewhat agree with him. Like, I don't think like Josh Heupel does a phenomenal job of producing like NFL starting quarterbacks. I saw a bunch of people attacking him, but I mean, come on, dude, you can't just make it's just a system thing because you left a lot of meat on the bone. You missed a lot of throws last year vertically that could have helped this Tennessee offense be a lot more explosive. We saw the end of the Arkansas game where he just runs out of bounds. Like, okay, dude, I can hear you a little bit. I think both things are true here. I don't think this system – I think it almost what's the word I'm looking for here, Barrett? Enables quarterbacks to the next level because it's so simple. But I think at the same time, dude, that's not why you were leaving.
Okay, here's the thing. If it was so simplistic and the offense wasn't going to help you reach new levels when you got to the NFL, why did you stay until the spring? Because the offense wasn't changing.
Yeah. I agree. If he was like legitimate in the winter, if he had came out with something like that, it's like, Okay, yeah, I don't think you're wrong, but also like we know that wasn't your reason for leaving.
No, that's the problem, is that you could come up with
it'd be
better
like your buddy being embarrassed, Bear, that like he's leaving his girl because she cheated on him and she had a spending problem and she did cheat on him. And he's like, dude, I was just tired of going through our finances and her spending a bunch of money. It's like, no, dude, she was cheating on you, dude. She was doing both. She was spending a bunch of money and she cheated on you. But look, come on, man, let's be honest. The real reason why you're ending it, whether she cheated on you.
Again, you can go ahead and lie to yourself. You can go ahead and lie to the people in Westwood. You can go ahead and lie to the people that are going to pay you the right amount of sums. But why would you do this and then claim, after all the reports have come out about money, about finances, about him missing practice because of he is doing a financial holdout until he gets a new deal? Well, he didn't want to stick around because of the offense wasn't gelling well with him, which again, I can understand. He didn't perform well last year. In fact, our friend Chris Marler, love him to death, came out with a graphic to show with quarterbacks in year one working in a Josh Heupel system, he was the worst one when it came to touchdowns. He was the worst one when it came to yards per attempt. He was the worst one when it came to passing yards per play. He was better than Drew Lock, Mackenzie Milton, Dylan Gabriel, and Joe Milton in one category, completion percentage, 63.8. Besides that, he was the worst quarterback top to bottom in all of those stats. So it's not like you can only say, well, look at the other personnel around me. Who was my offensive tackle? Who was my wide receivers? I would give you the benefit of the doubt, but you can't sell me on that being the only reason when we already have factual evidence that you were trying to build that rapport throughout training camp, throughout all of spring practice, leading up to the orange and white game. And then, and only then, after it got reported, hey, my contract negotiations are going on. Then it's also reported that Nico and his family said, you got to recruit better on the offensive line. You got to recruit better wide receivers. We got to build around my son if you want us to be considered an actual threat to stick around here, or we're going to go take our talents elsewhere. Like all those things that you could have had happen. Yeah, I don't have a problem if you want to make that a statement, but don't then come out and say, well, it was the offensive fault. Use that in December. Use that in January. Play in the playoff game and then say, the offense wasn't gelling for me. The skill set that I need to work on, that's not going to be there. Or say at the start of spring practice, I'm not going to be here anymore. I'm entering the portal at this point.
No, yeah, I agree. They mishandled this whole entire situation. Like you said, a lot of things are true in this situation, but I think everyone 100% can agree it was mishandled on his part, or his party's part.
Of course it was, and it's going to stay that way. And listen, more credit to him. I don't know what we're going to see from Tennessee, who they're going to go after a quarterback. We're going to talk about it tonight. I'm not sure what we're going to see with UCLA. Are they going to feel good about the wide receiver room, the offensive line, and the play calling underneath Cincinnati to where Nico's going to take that step forward? Best of luck to him if the deal gets done. Because remember, deal's still not official. There's no graphic that has come out to say he is committed. It is plans to commit at this point. I plan on drinking a couple of beers after this. Dave plans on getting a few hours of sleep. Is that going to happen? Until we see it, it may or may not. But real quickly, like the video, hit the ring notification, of course, subscribe to the channel. We have a mailbag episode. Dave, we had some fun ones tonight. First one up, though, comes from Jared, and I can only assume that he's a Sooner fan because of his entire premise of the question was, has your opinion changed on Oklahoma's win total going into 2025 with the addition of Jaden
Ott? With Jaden Ott, no, for me, no, because I think I'm still worried about the offensive line. Not worried. That's just my main question mark. I mean, I do think they had the best, especially at the SEC teams. I think you can make a case for the country that Oklahoma won the transfer portal both combined, talking about winter, spring, heading into the 2025 season. So I'm fired up about what Brent Venables and them did. Still want to see how this offensive line handles this. And again, another tough schedule, but I think we will really learn a lot. Obviously, week 2 when Michigan comes down. But I would still feel confident. And again, I think this team has a pretty high ceiling and a low floor. I mean, for their own standards. I mean, I think it's probably a 10-win ceiling if all things break well, no injury concerns or injury problems. I mean, Sooners know that from last year. And I think floor-wise, again, it could, if it got bad, the schedule's hard enough where you could accumulate some losses here. So I'll go 5. Again, I think Oklahoma to me is probably the biggest ceiling to floor team in the SEC for me heading into the season, where I'm like, dude, I could see a lot of different scenarios here, Bear.
Oklahoma going into the year, according to FanDuel right now, over under set at 6.5 wins. I would easily take the over 100% at this point. And I would have taken the over already simply because John Mateer's in the building. And you know how I feel about John Mateer. You know how I talk when it comes to
he was my favorite quarterback I think he's most people's favorite quarterback in the portal for sure.
He honestly is one of my favorite quarterbacks just in college football at this point. Like, I think that the fact that you're taking his talents of what we saw in Pullman down to Norman and it's the same offense, I'm not really worried. Like, I'm more so worried about the offensive line, as you said, health of wide receivers. Like, that's a little concerning, and it should be. But I'm not worried about Mateer, and so I already have them as a 7-win team going into this year. And now you're getting, in my opinion, the second, if not the best running back in the SEC, Jay Knott. Because Jay Knott wasn't healthy last season. And so I will take that into effect and argue that, yes, you could say that maybe a Lavian Moss falls in that category for you if you're really high on Caden Durham and what he could be at LSU. Sure, you can go based off of that kind of value. But I also look at the numbers just in total, and this is a second-team All-American. This is a first-team All-Pac-12 running back who has proven against quality defenses, when I get the horse rolling, I am hard to stop. I am going to gallivant my way into the end zone for 6 points, and I'm going to get a lot of yards after contact. And so now I'm putting him in an offense that loves to run the football. I'm putting him with a quarterback that will get in the ball out of the backfield. He's a multi-purpose player. I agree with you. I'm not ready to go ahead and jump into that college football playoff conversation. But if you're telling me right now, FanDuel's win total of 6.5, I have to go ahead and put money down on one way or another. Easily, I'm throwing money down in favor.
So I'm going to ask you this, Bear. I don't think South Carolina, Missouri, and Oklahoma can all be 9-win teams this year.
No,
I think that's impossible. So it's like so you're going to be down on one of those three teams because I think they're in that same category of they play. I think all three of them play one another.
They do.
And they all have other tougher games. So you're going to accumulate at least a loss from that perspective. So one of those teams I think is going to underachieve this year. Would be shocked if one of them wasn't in the 5 to 6 win category. And I think that's kind of what it comes down to for Oklahoma. If they get to that over of yours, get to that 8-9 win total, they at least got to split those two games. I'm thinking one's Missouri's at home, South Carolina's on the road. So those are the games I kind of look at for them. Then obviously Michigan's kind of the tone. I think they need to split the Michigan-Auburn games, especially both of them being at home.
Okay, let's counteract. Off defensively, who do you trust the most? Oklahoma, Missouri, or South Carolina?
Going into the year, I'd probably say Missouri right now.
You would trust me? Okay. I would trust Oklahoma the most, personally.
I think in South Carolina.
I think they have the best defensive lineman that nobody's talking about. Maniac Williams coming back. I like their secondary. I think they are fine linebacker play. Not elite linebacker play, but they also have a head coach that knows defenses and one of the best defense coordinators. Offensively, which is the one you trust the most right now?
I'm gonna go. Geez, it's Oklahoma or South Carolina.
That's right.
I'd probably just go South Carolina right now.
I would go South Carolina.
Yeah,
I would go South Carolina because I like Rasul Faison. I like Lenore Sellers. I think that you will see Michael Smith take a step forward at tight end. I think you will see somebody break out alongside Nick Harbor at wide receiver. It may be a freshman. It may be Mazio Bennett, but you will. I think Mike Shula's offense is going to be fine this year. So if you're telling me that
But again, both these teams have offensive line concerns that we're not talking about. I mean, we can talk all the skill stuff we want.
Sure,
but that's going to be the separator for me between South Carolina and Oklahoma. If you told me who had the better offensive line out of those two teams, like they probably had the better record this year.
My point is that when you look currently, you said Missouri and South Carolina, which means in your eyes, potentially the underwhelming team is going to be Oklahoma. I said South Carolina and Oklahoma, which means the underwhelming team is Missouri. So when you do it that way, you come to the conclusion on which one's going to be underachieving this year. And it could happen.
But I think Missouri's kind of got that sway, or it's the bigger one because the quarterback's so much more unknown than Sellers.
Oh, 100%.
So again, like he could drop them down significantly and they could be pretty good on defense. But still,
like Beulah also could be the reason why this team goes 10-2 with that schedule. Like he may be better than what we expect. Like that's another thing that you.
I think just these group of teams, you could maybe throw in Ole Miss with them too. That are these kinds of like all four of these teams cannot go.
I got a fifth one for you. Would you throw Tennessee in right now because of the quarterback situation?
Yeah, probably. I think that would be fair to throw them in that category.
I think it's fair to say that there are 5 teams that all could go 10-2 or 5-7. I don't think it's that far-fetched.
I'm with you too, though, a little bit, because like me and you both look at the schedules. Tennessee, if they got to 5-7, I'd be a little surprised. Not a little, I'd be shocked. I didn't even go that far, because like me and you talk about the schedule so beneficial. But like you said, we're sitting here with the unknown of the most important position in all of sports. We don't know what it is right now. I mean, them in Missouri and Tennessee both have the 2 big question marks. But like you said, I think Bo Pribula, we just don't know much about. But you're right, that doesn't mean he's going to be bad.
No, and I think he's going to be fine personally. Tennessee Dave writes in, Nico's going to UCLA, but which quarterback do you think lands in Knoxville? I just saw the Notre Dame kid enter the portal. Okay, cool. So for those of you that are just catching up to speed, Steve Angeli, he didn't win the starting job in South Bend, Indiana. He's going into the portal. If you just test the tea leaves and you go ahead and lay things out, Power 4 starting quarterback potential, coming on in, having an opportunity to go earn some reps. Tennessee needs a starting quarterback. It doesn't say that Jake Merklinger or George McIntyre can't start, but you're adding into competition. And Josh Heupel said that, yes, they're going to be adding in the quarterback. Do you like it as a potential fit?
Yeah. I mean, it's like we were talking about in the group message, Baron. You're right. Like, to me, I think, again, 2 things. Like, I talked to a Big 12 GM today. Team that's played in some big games here in the last few years. They reached out to their quarterback. I mean, I'll be honest, it was Josh Hoover. That's who they reached out to. He told them thanks, but no thanks. Your neck of the woods, Bear, out there in Big 12 country. I'm sure they've reached out to a couple other teams out there.
Sure.
If they had to settle on Steve Angeli, is kind of like, hey, this is our backup plan. Like you see reports, hey, they're aware of him, they're evaluating, they're talking to about 2 or 3 other guys right now. This isn't a terrible fallback plan. I think he's a winnable guy. You're going to go win a championship, or even going to go play for the SEC championship, or even make a playoff with him. Maybe some things broke for you. Maybe a playoff. I'd be shocked if you won the SEC or played for it. But I don't hate it though, Bear. I mean, you've seen him a little bit. Going back and watching some film today, we got off work a little early today. Like you're watching the Orange Bowl. He wasn't terrible. 6 for 7, like for 44 yards. You just hadn't seen enough of him. He was 24 for 36 last year, 268 yards, 66.7% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I mean, it's not bad. Again, this is a very friendly quarterback system. It's cut down the middle. It's half reads. One side of the field reads. This isn't a difficult system. If this kid's somewhat smart, which, I mean, he went to Notre Dame. I'm sure Steve's somewhat a little smart here. He has some ability. I think they can win 8, 9 games potentially. Don't think they're a championship contender. I've heard Rocco Becht, his name out there.
Yeah, I heard Rocco. I've talked to some people. That's all smoke and mirrors.
And then I would say the only other guy I've heard that is a pretty good source would say, watch out for a Big Ten quarterback that's from the Southeast area. Originally, could be a guy they reached out to that I think would be a solid get.
Are you talking like a Hudson Card?
No, Big Ten school, played an SEC team in a bowl game. Pretty marketing.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, we won't name names because if we do, we're gonna get in trouble
normally fans that normally listen to us know I usually throw stuff out there, but I told this guy I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's fine. Here's my thing. I've talked to some people, just basic quarterback knowledge, and I asked them, what does Steve Angeli do that really fits well for a Josh Heupel offense? And the thing that he said was, he'll be accurate. You know what? That's what it takes with a wide receiver core that you think is going to be better this year. Win. That's a win in itself. Because, again, you and I have talked about this multiple times. Tennessee has such a relaxed schedule where if you have competent quarterback play, not elite. Now, don't get me wrong, you won't have a Dylan Sampson or James Pierce coming off the edge, or you won't have a great linebacking core or an unproven linebacking core. Let's rather put it that way than a great one. It's well enough to where you can lose to, say, Florida in the Swamp. You can lose a random game on a Saturday in October and still go 10-2 and punch your ticket to the college football playoff with competent quarterback play. And what is Steve Angeli? Probably a solid game manager, great accuracy, good pocket awareness that will deliver clean strikes. Does that not fit the description of the type of quarterback that's needed right now in Knoxville for 2025 with this schedule?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the schedule, Barry. I mean, outside of Georgia at home, at Alabama, and at Florida, I mean, what would you say their 4th toughest game is? Oklahoma at home? Vandy at home?
Maybe Vandy?
Yeah, I mean, they got at State, at Kentucky. I mean, Syracuse to open up the year, but I don't think so. I would go Oklahoma.
Yeah, no. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Oklahoma 100% is their fourth.
Oklahoma would be fourth.
And here's the thing.
Could be third.
Here's the thing, though. They could lose to Oklahoma and beat Georgia in the same year, and it wouldn't be surprising with competent quarterback play because you got Nealon behind you. You got the backing and the support of the orange and white checkers.
Yeah.
Like you got that in your vicinity. So it's like, and it's year 5 for Heupel. So it's like at some point you better be holding your weight. Is Steve Angeli the sexy name that people are like really going to be so excited about? Probably not. But did you see our friend Greg McElroy on his podcast talk about Steve Angeli and what he could be this year?
Oh, yeah. I saw that. It said Joe Burrow.
It was on April Fool's. So
Shoot,
it's like,
if he has Joe Burrow's just first year at LSU, Tennessee's pretty good.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Do you remember Joe Burrow's first year at LSU?
Oh, dude, I was there. That was my last home game at A&M was the 7 overtime.
That's what I'm talking about. That's a game to where, like, when you look back and you say, okay, he's shown you all the intangibles, and he's going to come back for another season. He's not going pro. We got him locked in because he's going to be like, a day 3 pick. If that's Steve Angeli with a solid run game, with a quality passing attack, and again, I'm asking for one dude at wide receiver because I know that Miles Kitselman's going to give me something out of the tight end position when he's fully healthy, and I can trust that I'm going to get to Sean Bishop, Peyton Lewis, and Star Thomas to do stuff out of the backfield. So give me a Mike Matthews, give me a Chris Brazzell, give me a Braylon Staley, give me a Travis Smith, give me somebody to step on up and be that weapon, whether it be at the Z, the X, the slot position, whatever it is, I'm good. I feel content. If that's the case, I am locked in. And guess what? My team is probably going to the college football playoff. Like 2018 Burrow with this schedule, with the projection of what we think about the rest of the rosters.
Oh, yeah, that's good enough.
LSU's team that's going to the playoff in a 12-team format.
Yeah, that's better than Nico.
But no, but what I'm saying is like with that schedule, with 2018 Joe Burrow,
yeah,
that's going to the college football playoff.
Yeah,
no question.
Yeah, I would agree. And Joe Burrow, I would say in 18 was better than Nico was last year. That's all I can really go off of.
No, he was 100% better than Nico last year. Rivers H writes in, what non-conference games are you most excited about? Let's do 3, just because of why not. You want to go first? We'll go back and forth.
My 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, go 3, 2, 1. That's easy. That's easy.
All right, yeah, mine are pretty easy. I'm gonna go 3. I'm gonna go randomly. Ohio State, Texas. That may be a little too low for some people, but again, maybe it's because they just played. And again, I know this one's at the Horseshoe. It'll be fun. I mean, Arch's first game. It has its storylines, traditional programs. But we just kind of saw this, and I think both these teams have some question marks overall that we all know about. I don't feel like we're going to feel any differently no matter who wins this game. I think there's some other games that have some better storylines and some other bigger questions I want to see.
No, it's my third too. I mean, it is. Like, yeah, you can go ahead and say this should be the marquee game of the week. Week 1, national champions. It's Arch Manning. It's Steve Sarkisian looking for revenge. Like, yeah, that's a selling point. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you on that. What I also will say is that you're implementing 2 new quarterbacks. Whether or not Arch had a role last year, he's a first-time starter. This is now his team. It's going to be the same for Lincoln Kienholz or Julian Sain. It's not going to be the same weaponry. You brought in Mosley from Stanford. Everyone that I've spoken to believes that the Cal tight end is going to be a part of this roster very quickly. Like, it will be a almost done deal in the next several days. So I'm excited about that. You add him in, but you still got to build that relationship. What are DeAndre Moore and Ryan Wingo going to look like? What are these freshmen going to look like? And you can talk about the exact same thing for Ohio State. Like, yeah, Ohio State is the national champions. They're the victors of the world. Absolutely. I have no problem saying that they have earned that right in that title. What I also will say is that they're losing so much on the offensive line. They're replacing a lot defensively. And yeah, Texas and Ohio State, they're NFL factories. They're punching out day 1 talents left and right. That is an occurrence. But it does take more than just one game to realize, hey, we're a pretty good freaking roster. Like we're good enough to hold our own against anybody in the SEC or anybody in the Big Ten for that matter. It's going to take some time. So it's exciting because of this may be a game that eventually plays into somebody making the college football playoff, like as a guarantee. But I do think you will see a little bit of a setback in the expectations because of the two players that we have. It's a brand new offensive personnel for Ohio State. It's a brand new defensive coordinator. And it's also a brand new quarterback in a new era of Longhorn football. So that's why it's 3 for me.
2, I mean, Sooner Cowboys, I agree with you. You could make a case the Oklahoma-Michigan game should be in the top 3, and I would have no problem with that. I'm with you. I want to put that in there. I think Alabama's a legitimate SEC title contender, and I think they're going to kind of show potentially. You would like to see them, if they are, show us that week 1. That trip to Tallahassee, I think, will really be interesting, and interesting for Florida State. I mean, they turned over. Mike Norvell brings in his mentor, Gus Malzahn, to help him. I mean, most of everything Mike Norvell does is based off what
it's Gus a Malzahn-based offense.
Yeah, and he brought Herb Hand as the offensive line coach. It's the band's back together. Big year for him. I mean, Ty Simpson, what does he look like? This Bama defense should be good. Tone-setting game for Bama. I think we're going to really – second year for Kalen DeBoer, I would expect them wanting to come out rocking and rolling to kind of set a tone early in the season. That's what I would expect for them to do. So I'm just excited to see, again, does Florida State have any life too? Thomas Castellanos over there. So I'm excited for that one. They may not be somebody's top 3. You can easily see why someone would put Oklahoma, Michigan, like I mentioned.
You mean like me, who is putting this at number 2?
I don't hate you, dude. I mean, I could easily see it.
No, like it's a fork in the road game, I think, for both squads. Because if you tell me that this is the game where Bryce Underwood comes out, balls out, and eventually leads Michigan to Indianapolis in a shot of the Big Ten title, it really will not be surprising to me if he is as advertised and this offense takes that next step forward with Chip Lindsey and the way that Wink Martindale's defense plays. It won't be surprising. It also will not be surprising to see this be the moment that John Mateer proves to the college football world, I played a small-time schedule last year. I'm a big-time talent. Don't mess around and find out talent. I'm that moxie, that swagger that was embraced by Baker. I got that in my soul. And I got a running back in Jaden Ott that's taking the tops off of defenses. I got 2 wide receivers that are making plays left and right. My tight end play is better. My offensive line is beating your defensive line, and both have question marks going into this year. But yet we're the better team at Memorial Stadium, and we're putting belt to ass. Like, honestly, this is a fork of the road game because of this is the moment where, yes, Oklahoma wakes up, they choose violence. They show you all the moves made in the last 2 off seasons in the portal, the way they've been recruiting, the way they've been attacking, adding in the right pieces on the offensive line via the recruiting cycle. That's enough to where you're saying, yeah, good team. Or it's a moment where they end up waving the white flag. Everyone kind of realizes Brent Venables, really good coordinator, not a good head coach. He's done. It's only a matter of when, not if he is fired in 2025. Both those things can happen. And to me, that's exciting because it's a moment to where we get to see a legit powerhouse program and a legit powerhouse program that want to get back to that aura playing against each other. I'm all in on that.
Yeah. No, yeah. You got Chip Lindsey and new OC, kind of a journeyman around as the coordinator for Michigan. That'll be an exciting matchup. Number 1 for me, I think Clemson LSU. I'm actually pretty fine. I'm trying to talk Chris into going to that one week 1, but he's kind of leaning towards the cliche Ohio State, Texas. I mean, at Clemson, it's an on-campus site. LSU's trying not to start off 0-6 for 6 years in a row now. We're going back all the way to Ed Orgeron. 2 big quarterbacks, Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik. Like you mentioned, I think these are 2 legit playoff potential teams. Certainly Clemson, LSU, if like still got a little bit more to answer, but this would be a big win, big feather in the cap, not only for the league, but for LSU and Brian Kelly to get that week 1 monkey off their back and also kind of tell everybody, hey, we're here to compete for an SEC title. We're here to go compete for a college football playoff and even potentially a national title. I mean, this would be Brian Kelly, in my opinion, probably his biggest win in his tenure, potentially, maybe first year.
Alabama overtime year 1 probably is a little bit bigger.
This is on the road. I'd at least give him this too. I mean, a tough environment, week 1, everybody's rocking. It's a no-brainer week 1.
No, this is the best game for me. This is the best game just in college football for me right now. Like, yeah, it's the best in the SEC non-conference, but to me, it's the best in college football because I've told everybody this, and I'll die on this hill until proven otherwise. It's QB1 versus QB2 for me, and it's between 2 Tigers and 2 teams that I believe could go to the college football playoff. 2 teams I believe when they're playing at their peak, they can win a national championship. Prove me right. Like honestly, it's a prove me right game that Cade Klubnik, that Garrett Nussmeier are not just really good quarterbacks for their teams. They're just good quarterbacks in college football. Prove me right that the way that we have watched Clemson recruit over the last few years is a good thing. It's actually turning the corner in the right direction. And it's back to being the version of Clemson that is ready to go on a run to a national championship. And then LSU, you had all this money invested in Bryce Underwood. He's going to Ann Arbor. What'd you do with it? You spent money in the portal. You went out and you got better on the defense. You went out and you re-recruited. You got really talented up-and-coming players. You got some dudes that are already on campus that you feel like are going to become household names by the end of the year. Can they be it by week 1? And I agree with you, Dave. This is probably the biggest moment of Brian Kelly's career because of he hasn't been able to win the week 1 matchup in a non-con showdown. Especially, it's another game that will not be played in Death Valley. Or the Death Valley that they call down in Baton Rouge, which again is the right Death Valley. I'm not going to sit here and try and argue with people on that one. But still, it's a big game. It's not Nick Saban, but Dabo's still a national championship winning coach. And he's beaten Brian Kelly multiple times in the playoff. And Brian Kelly's got 1 win over him. So it's like you would like to be able to have that opportunity to end that monkey off your back and set the tone for the season. I agree. I think that that's easily the best game. I like the weaponry. I like the matchup just in general. Like, do you remember when they tried to sell us on LSU, Florida State week 1 when it was Jordan Travis versus Jane Daniels?
Which year?
2023.
23, yeah.
I never bought into it. I didn't. I thought Camping World Stadium, whatever. Like, I'm fully in on this one because it's Death Valley. It's the other Death Valley. It's ACC favorite versus always overrated Brian Kelly. Can one of you prove me right? Like, is one of you right in this situation?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's the no-brainer. We got to convince Chris to go to this one. It'll be cheaper too.
I would like to. Oh, by the way, breaking news according to Hayes Fawcett, Gio Lopez, congratulations, welcome to Chapel Hill. He just committed to North Carolina.
There you go, Gio.
There you go. Yep, you didn't want to go to Tennessee. It's very annoying, but I get it. I completely get going to join forces with Bill Belichick. Now I may throw some money down on them actually to win the ACC. Just like a little bit. Like not a lot, but there's a part of me that wants
TCU week 1.
Have you seen their schedule?
No, not completely. I know they play TCU week 1.
It's TCU, Clemson, and a bunch of we can win this game if we have a quarterback. Like it's very relaxed right now. Like Bill 1000% could turn this into a job in the NFL simply if he had the right quarterback. That's how easy.
After like a year. Yeah.
After 1 year. He's going to get some money. And you, ladies and gentlemen, should also get some money by going on over to FanDuel.com. The wait is over. Baseball season is finally back. And with the season beginning strong, why don't you begin your year strong with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook? Because right now, FanDuel is celebrating the return of baseball by giving new customers $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. So lay down $5, win that bet. You're going to get $250 in bonus bets from hits to steals to home runs. They've got a lineup filled with all of your favorites bets, or if pitching is more of your thing, FanDuel has a deep bullpen from bets, from strikeouts to strikeout innings, and of course, you can always just take the line straight up on who is walking away victorious each night. So when you place your first bet, it can be almost anything. If you hit, you'll get $250 in bonus bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today. That's FanDuel.com/SECU. Make every major league moment count with FanDuel, the official sponsor of Major League Baseball. Disclaimer: must be 21 and present in select states and 18 and present in D.C. First online real wager money only. $5 first deposit is required. Bonus issued withdrawable with non-bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online gambling sports wagering in Kansas under the agreement of the Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpd.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelpline.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit MD Gambling Helpline MA or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right, Dave, a couple more questions before we get on out of here tonight. Here's a fun one. Steve H. writes in, who still needs help in the transfer portal?
I'd probably go to Georgia. the outside backer spot, got a few options. Bo Atkinson, transfer. We talked about him a minute ago, North Carolina. And then the kid from Army, I think is Elo Mendoza.
Mendoza, yeah.
Bo Atkinson's already set up a visit. You're walking in especially after Chaz Chambliss, a couple of those guys already left. So, you're walking into almost immediate playing time at least. So, I would expect that. So, I would say Georgia, at least to compete ultimately for their real aspirations, which we know now is to win a national title. They're going to get a little more from the outside backer spot, edge rusher to affect the passer.
Like, if you're talking about a national championship perspective, Georgia falls in that category. I think that if you really want to go a step further, maybe Texas, just because I want to see another veteran weapon in there, and we've already talked about it. They're targeting guys. It's just the question of, will they be able to come onto campus, or will somebody offer more money in NIL? I'll go with one that I just think is flying under the radar right now because I think that they're a good team. I want to see if they can be a great team. Vanderbilt. Like, I just would like Vanderbilt to add in 2 more weapons. It could be at running back. It could be at wide receiver. It could be at tight end. And you can run a lot of 12 personnel. I just want to see them bring in somebody else to pair alongside with Diego Pavia and Eli Stowers to take that offense to another level. It's not a lot. Like, you can go get a kid. You can go get the kid from Ball State. You can go get the kid from Eastern Illinois right now, who's getting looked at by Oklahoma. He's getting looked at by Missouri. He's getting looked at by Michigan State. Like there's 9 or 10 Power 4 programs that are all interested in him, and it's like, just Vanderbilt, make him the biggest offer. You have enough to where if you add him in, you're probably feeling pretty good about yourself, at least better than what you were for 2025.
Yeah, they probably need that kid. I forgot they took. I was looking at the roster. Yeah, they need the Trent Hudson kid to do something. Outside of – you're right. They need some help outside of just Eli Stowers here. So you're right. And they got the Skinner kid too.
Like Skinner's fine. I think he's a really solid complementary piece. But do you have anybody else that you feel like is going to take that next step forward?
No, not right now.
Okay. Xavier Lloyd was his name. That's why I couldn't remember it. He's from Illinois State. 6'2", 197 pounds, 66 catches, 912 yards, 6 TDs last year. Has played at the Power 4 level. Started off his career at Kansas State. You're telling me that you just don't add him to the mix? It's another weapon on the outside for Diego Pavia to have success?
Yeah, sorry, folks. I meant Junior Sherrill. They lost Quincy Skinner.
Yeah, but it's one more weapon. Does that not just sound like a dude that you could add in and feel really good about where your wide receiver is?
No, they do need another weapon. You're right. Because I think this year people are gonna. Again, it's just like the NFL at the college level. These guys are smart. They're gonna cover up some stuff that they're gonna take away some things from Vanderbilt that they did last year that they're gonna have to adjust to. So you're right. Them having a weapon no one really knows about going into the season would be tremendous.
This one comes in from Duncan Davis. Who is your dark horse in the SEC to win the Heisman Trophy? Cannot be somebody inside the top 10 among SEC players. So I'm going to pull FanDuel's odds. Let's go through it. Garrett Nussmeier, Arch Manning, Lenore Sellers, DJ Lagway, John Mateer, Austin Simmons, Marcel Reed, Ryan Williams, Jackson Arnold. That's a name I did not think I was going to see on here. And it would have been Nico Iamaleava, Bo Pabula, all off the board. Can't take him. Yeah, exactly.
All right, for being realistic, you got to think of the positions that it normally is. It's a skill guy. It's got to be on a good team.
It's tough because if you take off the top 10.
Yeah, I'm going to go dude, just got to think they're competing, and we knocked off. We got Jackson Arnold and Bo Pabula on this day. I don't think this is going to be the case, but I'm going to go Ty Simpson just because I think if he had a big year, for him to have a big year, for Bama to win the SEC, he's going to have a big year, which obviously therefore you win the SEC. You're on a good team. You're in the playoffs.
Crap, my bad. I messed up. Ty Simpson's on the one that's
Bo Pabula on that thing.
Ty Simpson's on, Bo Pabula's off. That was my mistake. My bad.
Let me see. Bear, if you got somebody, you can throw it out there.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the one that I just was talking about, Diego Pavia. You gotta take him. I mean, honestly, he's not top 10. He's one of the better quarterbacks.
That's my
what?
I don't know if Vandy will be good enough though to get him that.
Sure, but again, dude, you're telling me I have plus 15,000 odds. Like, that's the odds that I have outside the top 10. He is the second in line. There's only one other person ahead of him. It's Bo Pabula. Like, that's how bad it is when it comes to this quarterback. Actually, my apologies. There's one other person ahead of him too. It's Austin Mack, who we don't know if he's going to be on the roster, if he's going to enter the transfer portal. That's what you got. So it's like,
give me Isaiah Horton.
You want to go that deep at wide receiver. So you're saying we're going straight up, hey, the transfer that came on in is going to have a Jameson Williams type in.
Yeah.
Jameson Williams type
knocked off a ton of people. But we went deep into the bag there.
Okay, I want to even see if I can find his numbers on this list. Like, I genuinely
if this guy even gets invited to New York, we're recircling.
That's a win in itself, Dave. I'm not gonna lie. Like that, he's not even on the top two. He's not even on the top 100 players. Like,
dude, he's even a finalist for this thing. We're pulling.
No, he's not even a finalist for odds on FanDuel.com right now. Like, you would have to call up FanDuel and go, "Hello."
I'm about to go with Barry. What's Jam Miller? Is he on there?
Let's see. Is Jam Miller on this list? We're gonna find out. Nope, he's not in the top 100.
You're going off there. What's Cam Coleman?
He was on this list. He was plus 25,000.
Plus 25,000. Right.
Yeah. Here's who he's between: Baron Morton, Rocco Becht, Zachariah Branch, Brendan Storby, Josh Hoover. So a wide receiver that we don't know if his quarterback play is going to be sufficient this year is between 5 to 12 quarterbacks. That's what we got.
We're circling back then. We're coming back. All right, April 17th, baby. We got to remember this date. If Isaiah Horton is even in the conversation,
if he's in the top 10, I will buy you whatever you want.
Vegas won't even take my bet right now.
No, I will take you out to Vegas. I will show them this clip. We will go to Circa. I will go, hello.
Let this man put his wager down.
This prediction back in April. You need to now honor it because I have visual evidence of it, of Isaiah Horton. I will fly us out there. I will come pick you up in Georgia. We will go to the airport. We will fly to Vegas. We will walk into Circa. We will show them this video and go, hey, Dave Shumate here was so high on Isaiah Horton that back on April 17th, 2025, the fucker decided to go ahead and say, hey, let's go ahead and put money down on a bet that doesn't even exist. I absolutely love it. I love it, Dave.
That's a bold prediction, dude. It's bold.
That's really bold. Like, that's beyond bold. Mark writes in, who do you think has more of a regression, Texas or Bama?
From this past year?
Yes, as I'm guessing.
Probably Texas. I think Bama will probably be in that same range, probably a little better. Like, if I had to guess, Texas, I mean, it's tough to ask them to repeat that. I just think, I mean, they could repeat that. That wouldn't shock me. I just think, I mean, I think Bama will be closer to what they were than Texas, maybe. Again, I could see both being in the same range. I would go Bama being about better or about what they were last year.
My thing is that the question is phrased as who will regress. I don't think Bama regresses.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I think they're in that 9-10 win range this year. I think Texas is in that 10-11 win range this year.
Yeah.
So by that meaning, just simply right there, you lose one other regular season game. Could be to Oklahoma, could be to Florida, could be to Mississippi State, could be randomly to Ohio State. You're 10-2. That meant that you regressed. Like, simply just based off the common denominator of what is the question, Texas regresses. And that's not an insult. Like, 10-2 is still going to get you in the playoffs. And, like, Texas fans, they love, like, right now, it's not a negative that you currently are being asked a lot of questions of what is the status of this team and this offense moving forward with a bunch of new pieces. We're giving you credit where credit's due. Steve Sarkisian has proven in the last 2 years how much of a flex he is as a recruiter. The type of players that he is landing. And the type of players he was landing when he was in the Big 12 to get ready for the SEC, I think speaks incredible volume of the direction that he's had this team going for a hot minute. So it's like you add all that together. It's a really, really, really good formula, but you got to allow all the players to gel and mesh. It doesn't happen overnight. And one of those games is against Ohio State week 1. And then you get Georgia, and the Red River Shootout's always a crapshoot. And you don't know what Florida's going to be when you face off against them. And you got to go travel to the Swamp. And Texas A&M might be better this year. Who's to say? So, like, you could lose just 2 of those games, and then right there, you end up missing out on what would be maybe Atlanta, but you also go to the college football playoff. So it's like, it's not a negative. I'm not saying that you're going to be this 8-4 team and that everything is dark and gloomy on the 40 acres. It's just like, you may not win every game besides a Georgia matchup. Like, you may just not do that this year. It may not be in your cards.
Yeah, no, I would definitely pick Bama on that.
It's not that bad of an insult. Justin writes in and says, if there is one player that you would love to see in the transfer portal join an SEC school, who is it?
Right, it's not there now in the spring portal. Like,
no, that's in the spring portal right now. Could be anybody. Like, they could have already committed somewhere else.
Spring portal right now. What's the? I'm going to him right now. I'll watch it. What's his? My guy. Go ahead with yours, Bear. I got my guy. Hold on, coming up.
Which one? Who are you talking about?
No. Go with your guy right here. I'm looking up his name. Because I didn't get I didn't, because all these questions. I had my guy. Hold on. No, you go ahead with yours if you got somebody. I'm pulling my list.
I know who I want. I'm trying to think. No, I mean, I didn't want to go there because it's a cop out, and I constantly keep saying his name. But I mean, it's Jack Endries. It's Cal tight end. I want another weapon for Arch Manning. Like that's what it is. Like, if you were to tell me that I could send him to Oklahoma and I could put him with John Mateer, I like that too, because then I get a security blanket for either quarterback, and then it leads to the Red River Shootout being better. Because and my big thing is I talked so much crap last year about the Red River Shootout being one of the best rivalries in sports, and it is. But the game did not live up to the hype for the SEC year 1. And a lot of people decided to call me out and say that this was a BS game and that now it's in the SEC. Texas is going to roll over them and the pageantry is going to be gone, because if it's going to eventually just be a lopsided field, that's going to look like what we saw when Nick Saban was running the show in Tuscaloosa and the third Saturday in October took a step back. But, like, I want this rivalry to have value. So Jack Endries going to either Oklahoma or Texas, I think helps with that. It gives you a security blanket. I think he's going to go to Texas. I think he had a really good year this year. I think he's the 3rd or 4th best tight end in college football going into this season. There's a lot to like about him, and whoever's getting him is getting a stud.
I'm going to go with my guy here. I had his name wrote, Joe Cotton, my guy from South Dakota.
That guy.
Joe Cotton. Give me South Dakota. I mean, dude, it's everybody. I mean, you have Oklahoma could be a team that needs to add another offensive tackle. You could Alabama add some depth to an offensive tackle for him to come compete and make this whole room better. I think any kind of addition for him, for any team, would be awesome. Again, you never have enough depth at the offensive line or in the trenches on any side of the football anyway.
If you had to pick one, who would it be? Like, just it got to your, would you just say Bama because if you want Bama to have depth?
No, yeah, they just need some more depth. I mean, I think Oklahoma would need him more for sure.
Watch him go to a place like Wisconsin. Like, they just pay a crap load of money in NIL. Like that.
Yeah, and that's where he's visiting, Wisconsin and Cincinnati.
Is that where he's going?
Yeah.
Well, that was Michigan. Anyways, one more that I wanted to throw out there. Bo Atkinson's going to get paid by somebody in the SEC. Like, it may be Georgia, it may be South Carolina, it may be Missouri, but he's going to get paid. Like somebody is going to see the talent. They're going to go, look at what happened when they added in Kyle Kennard to Columbia. We can get that same type of production from him this year. And he may end up being the best player in the SEC. Did I lose you?
No.
Oh, okay. 2 more for us. Here's one for your people decided to bring on in, and I want to save it for near the end because of WrestleMania is coming on this weekend. And what's the whole theme about WrestleMania this week, Dave?
What do we have? John Cena's a heel.
Heel turn. So,
for the first time in his life.
From Marshall M. Who is the SEC Mount Rushmore of heels?
All right, I got my 4. I'm gonna go.
Go in order because I have my 4. But it's
I don't really have them in an order. I can just have them ranked. I just have them.
Just go one by one. Do that one.
All right, first one, Philip Fulmer. I think again, and this is all subjective. This is everybody's experience. This is growing up. I'm gonna go Philip Fulmer. At Tennessee, I mean, he's literally stabbed Johnny Majors in the back while Johnny was having heart surgery to get the head job. Turned Alabama in for the Albert Means stuff, and then got my guy John Curry fired the whole Greg Schiano, Jeremy Pruitt ordeal, or the Greg Schiano ordeal. So Fulmer, kind of a rat, kind of a snake. Yeah, and it was hilarious. He was involved in the Jeremy Pruitt NCAA stuff. So I think Jeremy Pruitt is on my SEC Mount Rushmore of villains heels.
Tommy Tuberville, simply because of all the negativity that came around the programs that he ever worked at. It didn't matter where it was. And then of course the Pine Tar Box comment. Well, the Pine Box comment will always drive me crazy. Told Ole Miss fans with a lie through his teeth, not leaving. You're going to have to make me leave Oxford in a pine box before I ever go to another SEC school. 48 hours later, he is headed off to Auburn. He helps Auburn become a pretty decent program, but that was his persona, and it was so smug-like, and it was so arrogant that you just wanted to see him get knocked down a peg a little bit. And then he did it when he was at freaking Texas Tech. It carried on with him, and it's carried on so much that Slimeball got into politics, which is a perfect fit for him. Everything about
Bama 6 times in a row, so Bama fans aren't real fond of him.
Everything about him is just so disgustingly villainous. I'd put him on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. You have Ole Miss, Alabama fans that don't like him. Hell, I even know some former Auburn players that aren't.
There's Auburn players that don't like him. There's Auburn
I'm going to go Steve Spurrier while he was at Florida. I mean, he was actually a funny heel that everybody kind of laughed about. Can't spell citrus without UT. Florida State, Free Shoes University. I mean, never lost to Georgia. Always trolled Georgia. Dominated Tennessee. We just talked about Philip Fulmer. Philip Fulmer, he owned Philip Fulmer. Steve Spurrier was that first run and gun shoot he brought over from Duke. He was different. He was cocky. He'd run up the score. Other people didn't like him. But he wasn't a bad guy. He was just a very arrogant, cocky guy. But to give Spurrier credit, he could back it up. And I think Tennessee, Alabama fans, Georgia fans would all tell you in the 90s, Steve Spurrier was a total pain in the ass. So I think Steve Spurrier would be, at least in my lifetime, on the face or the Mount Rushmore of villains in the league.
Can I just throw this one out here? Because if he's not a villain to me, but he is a villain in the sport, simply because of just how many people decided to try and emulate what he was doing. It's Nick Saban. Nick Saban,
yeah.
Whether or not you love him in College Game Day, whether or not you love him in Tuscaloosa, and again, my feeling is a little bit different, but sometimes it's nice to root for the villain. Nick Saban was a villain. He single-handedly was responsible for rebuilding coaching staffs in the SEC with either coaches underneath his regime or because they couldn't beat him. I mean, how many times do you look back at the history of the Iron Bowl and realize how much success Gus Malzahn actually did have in that rivalry? But every once in a blue moon, he'd get his ass kicked in, and so they put him on the hot seat. And it wasn't just that game, but that was like the one thing that everyone was like trying to do. They were trying to chase down Nick. They were trying to guarantee that they were building a program just like Nick. None of his assistants could take him down. Very few people just in the league could take him down. He created a narrative that if you couldn't beat Bama, you couldn't be like Bama. And so many teams would just go try to build that same model elsewhere in the conference, and it never worked. He literally made it a no-fun conference because it was always Alabama and insert which SEC East team, Florida or Georgia, 99% of the time, we're going to go play in Atlanta, and they were going to go now play in the Sugar Bowl because Alabama was going to the playoffs. So it's like,
no.
I don't think he's a villain, but he's a villain of the SEC.
I think he's more of a villain because he won. And think about it, a lot of the things he would come vocally complain about got changed, like the illegal man downfield, the 3-yard rule when Auburn's huddle, hurry up, no huddle with Gus came into effect. Because again, it was tough to read. They changed their defenses. I mean, yeah, I could totally agree with you. Why someone would say Nick Saban's a villain doesn't mean he's a bad person or anything. Just
but like the other thing that's really important. If another coach had an issue with it, but the SEC was like, what does Nick think about it? Oh, it's fine because it's working for me. Okay, well, we're just going to lay it down on the wayside. Nick has a problem with it. Oh, we have to change it. It has to be done. We have to listen to what he wants because he is the face of college football. So it's like
he expanded these staffs.
It's like it's little things like that to where when things didn't go Nick's way, he would make sure it would go his way, which had pissed off people in Lexington, Knoxville, Athens, Oxford, Starkville. So it's like he's not a villain because he's not a bad guy or like a slime ball or anything like that. But like you also knew if Nick showed up to the house, he was going to walk away with that player if he wanted that player. He was going to walk away with that deal if he wanted that deal.
All right, second to last one. Again, mine in any specific order. I'm going to go. This is the one I guess if you ranked them, this would be my fourth one. The first three kind of came pretty easy to me. Urban Meyer, I guess. I mean, why it was at Florida. I mean, again, I think a lot of it had to do with the winning stuff like that. And then again, the fake medical stuff. He retires, comes back. Like, I don't know. I think people feel like he tapped out a little bit. I think Urban Meyer's been grown a little bit more ever since Florida to be more disliked, though. I think you could make that argument. I mean, it's been so long. 2012 or 2010 was his last season there in Gainesville. So I don't know. I think Urban Meyer was an unlikable guy, a little arrogant, not to Spurrier's, like not like loudly arrogant. You know what I mean? Wasn't out there like Spurrier would talk smack. Urban kind of had that smug, like, I'm better than you kind of to him a little bit. But no, I would probably go Urban Meyer. I struggled with a fourth one. If you maybe do all sports, I feel like a Marshall Henderson in there, he'd be a no-brainer. But I mean, you probably have two other ones, but no, I mean, this is the other one. I've gone back and forth with some other coaches, but I don't want to say their names in case you have them.
C. Spurrier was it for me too. I threw him on this list, and the big reason why was just because of he was confident, but he was confident in a cocky, condescending, and also sarcastic way. Like, but the thing is that he backed it up, and that's the other part there where it's like it's hard for you to call him.
Respect it,
but like, listen. There were times where afterwards he would lose a game and he would go belittle his own team in a press conference and talk about how negative things were. And it's like, it sounds bad, but it's actually probably the best thing that happened to Florida because it got them on the right track and it was something that was necessarily needed down there in Gainesville. But also, it's like, imagine that you lose by a game-winning field goal and you're you're Danny Werfel, and now he's talking mad shit about you. And like he's talking about how your offensive line couldn't block for him, or that like he threw in a double coverage and he was an idiot. Like it's just like it's such a negative feeling of like I don't know if he likes me. Like, you know those people who are way too sarcastic and like they call you your best friend. They call you your best friend, but it's like, oh, how do I know that you're my friend when literally all I want to do is curl up into a ball and cry whenever I'm around you? Like, oh, I love you, buddy. Yeah. It's just my way of showing love. That was Spurrier. It was.
No, but also too, I mean, he dominated the league. I mean, the only team he really struggled with when he was in the 90s was Florida State and Bobby Bowden. Everybody else in the league, I think he had a winning record against. I know he did. Hey, Alabama may be the only team he didn't have, surprisingly, because Alabama wasn't even good back then. But Georgia, Tennessee, I mean, owned those dudes. It's really just Florida State. But Spurrier's definitely kind of the funny, like likable villain a little bit now that you kind of his time's gone by there. But the number one for me, this one was easy as hell. I mean, I think this is pretty unanimous unless you live in Lee County or Auburn, Alabama. It's Cam Newton. I think it was kind of Auburn against the world that year in 2010. I think every week everybody was hoping stuff would come out because Auburn kind of threw it in your face. They gave the NCAA the middle finger and told them they weren't cooperating with him, which, I mean, that's how you've been able to operate against the NCAA of late is, hey, if you give them the middle finger, usually – they'll fold. I mean, it's usually how it is. At least back in that time, they usually folded and didn't do anything about it if you didn't cooperate. If you cooperated, you usually got hammered like Ole Miss did. But I think overall, it was Cam Newton, dude. Just the smug, just kind of the smugness of the, hey, he got $200,000. Mississippi State's involved in this with John Bond. And it was just kind of like, it just could never be proven, but everybody knew it was happening. But again, Auburn got him for the deal of a lifetime, especially now in today's market. Imagine getting Cam Newton for like $280,000. I mean, geez. I mean, that's what a poor man's receiver goes for in today's time. But no, I think it's definitely Cam Newton.
Cam's the right answer, and the main reason why is because it was a one-man wrecking crew. Like, you look at that Auburn team as well. Where are they without Cam? Like, and you know what's so funny?
7-5, 8-4.
You know what's really funny is I don't think he wins a national title at Mississippi State, but I still think that he was so good he would have at least taken them into the SEC championship game. He would have, because that would have been, and Dan Mullen would have been. Was that Dan Mullen's first year there? Second year. Right. So imagine the way that we're talking about Dan Mullen if he ends up getting Cam Newton. That's how crazy he was. I will throw one more name out there, and maybe this is a personal preference, but it's Johnny Manziel. It's Johnny, and the reason why is because of Johnny didn't do enough when it came to what Cam was able to do by sending his team to a national championship. But my God, was he just he was the Marshall Henderson of the 2010s
college
of college
football. Yeah.
Because he knew he was good. He knew he was untouchable. He knew that everybody that was in College Station or anybody that was just a fan of the sport that didn't reside in the SEC had his back. They loved whenever they threw up the money sign. Everyone thought of him as just the most of the coolest dude out there. But when he played you were so annoyed. You just couldn't get past the fact that a guy that was told by Texas and Oregon and other schools, you're a defensive back. Middle finger it. I'm going to go play quarterback elsewhere. That's what I'm going to do.
No, that 2012 A&M team with Mike Evans, Ryan Swope, and them had some swag. Yeah, and Johnny. You're right. Johnny could be on there. Lane Kiffin could be on there.
Okay, Lane's on there, though, for the fun. Lane's on there because of he's not as bad as Spurrier was. He's the closest thing we have to Spurrier.
Yeah, he is. I agree.
But he's on the list because of the Tennessee thing. The fact that he's so vocal on Twitter. The fact that he calls out programs left and right. He's complaining about everything, including a year when you have the easiest schedule in the SEC and you can't get 10 wins, and you're bitching about why SMU belongs. So it's a villain. He's more of a villain in college football than I would just say the SEC if I'm being real.
Yeah, no, you're right. You could add Johnny Manziel, and I would say you could add Lane Kiffin. Anybody else out there that you would think you could add that way, an honorable mention? The problem is, Barry, you know this just as well as I have. You've worked in media long. The problem is back in the 90s, 80s, obviously, and even early 2000s, these guys weren't as followed. On phone, their personalities weren't out there.
That's the reason.
That's what kind of said. That's what it's tough to go. Brian Bosworth, but again, Bos kind of welcomed it a little bit. It was. I'm trying to think anybody at Texas. Texas has never really had a dude that was really in your face. Nobody.
No. What they had was they had great running backs, but at the time it wasn't anything of the level that we see nowadays. Like Ricky Williams and Cedric Benson, what they were able to do for Texas. Yeah. Great players, but social media wasn't a big thing back then. So it's
so you didn't really get to see their personalities a ton in college.
Is there anybody else
That's what I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to go through my head any Tennessee guys that were. Eric. I wouldn't put him on a Mount Rushmore, but I've always heard Eric Ainge wasn't the coolest dude in the world. But again, that's just people's own run-ins. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying universally, what people would be oh yeah, villain.
Could you say Trey Mason?
Man, I guess yeah, man. Nick Fairley. He was on the same team as Cam. But again, he's not an all-time. Yeah, people didn't like Nick Fairley, but Nick Fairley wasn't an all-time SEC disliked player.
Was Steven Garcia on this list?
But is he all-time? I think more.
Is he all-time hated? Yeah. With his bald head, could he be on this list?
No, I don't think so. Dude, I don't think we missed anybody. I got one more. Johnny could be on it.
I got one more. I don't think. What?
AJ McCarron?
No, it's Joe Burrow.
I don't know how you could dislike
Joe Burrow. That's the thing is because I personally love Joe Burrow. But can you imagine the cockiness of when you're playing in every single game down the stretch after beating Bama and just pointing at the finger give me my ring?
What about, again, he wouldn't be on the Mount Rushmore, Stetson Bennett? Well, Stetson turned a little bit more douchey after he left.
No, it was after he left Georgia. That's
that's what I'm saying. While he was in it, I don't think people disliked him.
And honestly, the whole story about him and how people thought, well, why are you coming back for another year? You're not that great of a quarterback. You went out on top. You won us a national title. Don't ruin your legacy. And then it was kind of like, oh, watch me actually get invited to New York City because of what I did. Watch me end up pulling off an upset in the SEC championship. Watch me go win another national title and single-handedly put up gaudy numbers against TCU. Like me personally do it. Just to shut you up. That feels more of a hero than it does a villain in college football, like for the SEC.
Yeah. No, yeah, I know. I agree. You're right. A walk-on. Yeah, no. Yeah, you got to judge them just in college. Like you said, you can't really go with what they did.
Like Baker in the SEC would have been a villain. Would have 1,000%.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's not the SEC. He's in the Big 12. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Kyler would have been in that same conversation. Like, just the way he – What?
Who'd you say was the second one?
Kyler would be in that conversation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but you're right. I would definitely agree with you on Baker.
Oh, Baker 1,000% would be a villain. Let me see. Do we have any more in the chat? Real quickly, if you haven't already, like the video, hit the ring notification, and, of course, subscribe to the channel. That way you keep up to date with all the content that we have coming in the next several days, especially with the transfer portal, because we're going to be doing videos. We're going to be dropping content, live streams whenever somebody commits to a certain program. So you're not going to want to miss out.
Hold on there. I got one more thing. One final. Here's our hypothetical for you tonight. We hadn't talked about this. All right. So if they officially announced SEC Media Days in Atlanta, 2025 SEC Media Days, College Football Hall of Fame, they announced the dates, Bear. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to read the dates, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and ask you what is the best day you think heading in right now. So we got Monday.
Hold up. I got a better idea. Because I don't know this off the top of my head.
Well, I'm about to read it to you.
What?
I'm about to read it to you.
I know. So let me blind rank the days. So
how can you rank the days if you don't know what they are?
It's called a blind ranking.
All right, rank. How are you going to do this?
So you're going to read off the names. I'm going to put them in 1 through 4 to figure out which one would I want to go to the most.
All right. So Monday, July 14th, LSU, Brian Kelly, Lane Kiffin, Shane Beamer, and Clark Lee.
That's number 1.
All right, Tuesday, Hugh Freeze. Tuesday, July 15th, Hugh Freeze, Kirby Smart, Josh Heupel, Steve Sarkisian. Wednesday, July 16th, Kalen DeBoer, Billy Napier, Jeff Lebby, Brent Venables. And then the final day, Thursday, July 17th, Sam Pittman, Mark Stoops, Eli Drinkwitz, Mike Elko. That one has to be last, right?
No, last to me, I think, is actually Kirby and Josh. Personally, that's day 2, right?
That is day 2. Yeah, Hugh Freeze, Kirby Smart, Josh Heupel, Steve Sarkisian.
Okay, Sark's not going to tell me. Sark's not going to say anything of importance. Most of the questions are going to be all based off Arch, because they always are. So I don't have to worry about that. Kirby is going to be asked about probably the transfer portal and what's going on with the program, but we know how he acts. We know what he is going to say in the public eye. We know what he's going to say to literally just to the beat reporters on staff. So that's 2. I'm not going to get anything like Heupel makes it not maybe last place simply because of a lot of
situation amplifies him though going into that.
But then who is the 4th? But then who is the 4th one?
Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, see, and I don't care to hear from Hugh Freeze. Like, if I hear from him, that's
one of the better days. I would say the last day, Sam Pittman, Mark Stoops, Eli Drinkwitz, Mike Elko are kind of my least interesting days. And then I'd probably go.
Time out. What was that?
That was the last day. Sam Pittman, Mark Stoops, Eli Drinkwitz, Mike Elko.
So 2 of them are on the hot seat. So that to me is interesting. Or 2 of them could be out of a job next year.
Oh, there may be 2 on the hot seat on every day. Yeah, Billy Napier, Brent Venables.
Yep.
Except you got 1 on Tuesday, and then you got
Brian Kelly's not on the hot seat.
You wouldn't have anybody on Monday. Brian Kelly, Lane Kiffin, Shane Beamer, or Clark Lee are getting fired this year.
I say Brian Kelly's on the hot seat. Brian Kelly would just be starting to feel the pressure that it's got to actually finally hit. And then Clark Lee would be one. If it's not the hot seat, what it would be is, hey, does a better job open up instead of Vanderbilt, to where if you continue the success, you're not going to be in the SEC next year. You're going to be running the Big 12 or running the ACC or going to a Big 10 school. Like you're in a much better situation than what you were right now. Like that could be it. But that's it for hot seat. Now, day 1 is easily the best day. Shane Beamer, Lane Kiffin, and Brian Kelly all in the same room. Like enjoy the hell out of that.
No, I think that's probably my second. I'd go. That's my second day.
Day 3 is probably my second day with BV, with Kalen Pittman.
No, Napier and Levy.
Yeah, no, 100%. Napier, I want to hear more about DJ. I want to hear more about the offense. So that's day 2.
You don't give a crap about Jeff Levy.
Who would not want to hear from Jeff Levy at this point? I would. I'd love to hear at this point what direction this offense is going to look
Jeff
like.
Levy was the one that was really bland last year. He just went immediately to questions almost. Yeah. You know, I mean, I get it. It all depends what you're looking for. You're looking for more like answers on kind of what they're going to say. Because again, I think a lot of these teams have more holes than pretty much the entire league's had from top to bottom in a long time, I think, where this league's pretty open this year. Again, I'm not saying it's going to make the Big 12 and Arizona State's projected to finish last. Like, Vandy's not winning the league. I ain't saying it's that open, but I think every team, every contender has big-time question marks. I think all these, these are going to be fun days overall. But, yeah, you're right, Bear. Probably the last day to me, I'm least Jacks. Maybe that's why they put it last. But you're right. All days you can make the storylines. But I think the top 3 days are all really good across the board. You're right. The personalities on Monday with Kiffin. Beamer will come in confident. And then Brian Kelly, like you said, got a lot of answer for. Big year for him.
You know, like how it trickles down day by day whenever you're at these events. And then at the very end, you have like just a handful of people that are going to these codes. Like, that's the problem with some of these schools. You have to have Shane Beamer, Brian Kelly, and Lane Kiffin on 3 different days. Because you're throwing out the main course when you should be having hors d'oeuvres. Like, that's what you're having. Because those 3 are going to be a hoot in itself. And then Clark Lee, you got him. How does that not add any more value to it? I don't understand that one. It's great for content, bad for the rest of the SEC on what it means. Like, that's the welcome party for everybody else to meet the standard. Like, it's like, that's so tough to follow up. How do you follow up that day? Like, how do you follow up Shane Beamer, Lane Kiffin, and Brian Kelly all in the same room?
You freeze up the plate to do it on Tuesday.
He's the only one. Like, he's got to be batting for 4. All right. Get some mailbag questions in next week. No Sunday Funday this week for, let's just be real, obvious reasons. You know why. I know why. Everyone knows why we're not going in this week. So have a happy Easter. Make sure that you enjoy your Easter. Dave and I will be back on Monday. We're going to recap the spring games. We got 2 major ones that we got to talk about. South Carolina, Texas A&M. What direction are both these teams going to look like going into 2025? We're going to have more transfer portal news. And the best part is we're going to have transfer portal news every single day when you go ahead and like the video, hit the ring notification, and, of course, subscribe to the channel. Because we are going to go live every other day or every day that there is breaking news coming out in the SEC. So if a Texas player comes on in, if an Oklahoma player lands a new person, if Florida grabs a different difference maker, Kentucky grabs a dude, we're going to be talking about it. For Dave Shumate, I'm Cole Thompson. Until next time, have a happy Easter. Take care. God bless. And remember, you only live life once. Don't let it kill you.